I will. I'll share my screen if that works.
Sounds good.
Hey, Josh, how's it going?
I'm so excited for this chop. I didn't realize it's not muted, but got some food here, got some coffee. You guys, Jeff? Are you on the West Coast right now?
Yeah, I'm just in California.
Called in early, damn.
Cool. Super early for you.
Super early. The StarCraft team and Matchbox makes me wake up early. I like it. Cool. Oops. Let me know if you all can see that, and we'll try and get through it. One sec. Okay, cool. Is that clear to you? And you guys can only see the single screen?
Yeah, it's coming in fine. On the left-hand side, it shows slides 1 through 9, that entire UI. So
okay, cool. Well, we can wait for a few more people to come in, but and a lot of the ChapterOne team is here, so maybe at some point they can grill me with questions. But yeah, what I want to talk about in this talk is really about finding product market fit in crypto. I think the title crypto is a little bit misleading because product market fit within crypto and consumer largely should be considered to be the same thing. I think we'll look at some data that shows kind of where we are in the cycle of crypto, but you'll see that one core idea of the presentation is we haven't found true product market fit within crypto gaming, which is pretty clear, but there are signs that we might get there sometime soon. And so in terms of background, I was formerly the VP of product and revenue at Tinder. That was a really cool job because I was in charge of building the economy of Tinder, which was really all of our monetization, all of our subscription products, all of our in-app purchases, and really as we started to scale the company, we started to hire more and more people with gaming backgrounds to the point where a lot of the people came in with much better, I would say much more advanced backgrounds in gaming than myself, and I was just trying to keep up with them and learn along the way. And so, and then just in terms of investing, starting crypto in 2016 as an angel, and then was also the crypto scout for Next Ventures, and have been lucky enough to work with some great companies: Dapper Labs, Compound Finance, The Graph, Dharma Labs, and Blockfolio. And so at ChapterOne, our mission is to make Web3 more accessible through delightful products. Accessibility to us also means opening up crypto to non-crypto native audiences and really thinking outside of the current audience base, which we know is pretty small compared to the overall size of the internet. And we're really building our fund as a product. And so you see the different functions within our team, but we do roadmaps, we do sprints. We really operate as a product team and think about what we're building as a search for product market fit too. There's our team. You can see a lot of different backgrounds, but just wanted to show, when I wake up in the morning, it's not thinking like an investor. It's often thinking like a product person. So, and then in terms of our ecosystem investing, we care a lot about the Starkware ecosystem. We're investors in Starkware, Matchbox, Cartridge, and Fi, which is coming out soon. Cool. Starting with product market fit, I think a lot of people overcomplicate the idea of product market fit. As the name suggests, there's really only two parts. It's product and market. And so a lot of people start with the product. I think the more logical starting place is to start with your target customer. Within gaming, your target customer can be a lot of different things, and we'll go through examples of where games within crypto are currently being played. But start with your customer, identify their needs. Within gaming, their needs are pretty simple. It's to have fun, and within crypto, likely to earn some money, which we will talk about the kind of economy of crypto games so far. I think really the point of this slide is I think within crypto and within all consumer, people start with the top of this funnel too often. So they start with UX or the feature set, but they don't think deeply enough about the market. The top games in crypto, as we've seen and all know, Axie, Splinterlands, Alien Worlds, Upland, Mobox, and then Steppen's not on here. We'll look at Steppen's retention data soon, but these numbers are very small. And so if you consider there's over 2 billion gamers in the world, there's over 5 billion internet users. I guess to put this in perspective, we had at Tinder over 50 million monthly active users. We had well over 20 million daily actives. So we had exponentially more adoption than these games, which is okay because we're early in the life cycle. I know Jameson's on this call. I think Twitter has over 400 million DAUs. So again, the numbers in crypto are just very small right now. The good news is you can find product market fit pretty quickly. And so just looking at Steppen's daily active users as an example, around 40K was the peak. And so if you think about launching a game and acquiring 40K users, that should be fairly, I don't want to say simple, but that should be achievable. Because again, if you think about 2 billion gamers in the world, and then you think about just general consumer apps, hitting 40K should be a goal you should strive for and should hit. It might not happen at a hackathon, but again, these are numbers that you should be able to achieve. Of course, we've seen with Axie and other crypto games that retention, unfortunately, is just not sustainable. And so within gaming, daily active users really is the metric you should be using. And so at Tinder, we thought about weekly active users, but gaming is a daily active habit. And so over the last 4 months, the player base of Axie has shrunk at a 250,000 DAUs each month. And so really at this point, the Axie game economy is not working. And you can start with just looking at daily active users. We'll look at different gaming funnels as well, but another just general view. And again, all the gameplay starts on AxieInfinity.com, but you see again just a decline in overall usage. In terms of, I mentioned gamers worldwide, and again, I'm setting this up to show the scale that we should be aspiring to hit, but they're well over, there are about 3 billion gamers in the world currently. And again, we just saw those charts of Steppen with 40,000 users. And so again, kind of a long way to go, but and this is just global internet users, but there's 5 billion users. So the challenge for you in this hackathon is to just try and find hints of product market fit this week. I think trying to find product market fit in a week is a really daunting task. I myself have only really experienced product market fit once or twice in my entire life. And so you're just looking for hints and signals that people enjoy the gameplay. We can look at the really simple metric to look at. And again, I don't think you'll be building an entire game this week, although you might ship some experiments is just day over day retention. So day one retention, and we'll look at what's kind of best in class there. But I think the starting point for product market fit is obviously to make a product that people want. And so, and then the second part within gaming, which should be pretty straightforward, is making a profit. Gaming's the best category by far for monetization. And so the monetization piece should be easy once you have users. And then the last piece is keeping people sustainably. I think this is what's missing from crypto right now. So where should you start in your search of product market fit this week? The general starting point I recommend is to pick an audience and be very specific. And so I think within gaming, people often do not focus their games on an audience. You kind of build things for either yourself or a really broad segment. You just kind of design a game for everybody, and that just generally doesn't work. I would start by doing just like very basic validation research into where gamers currently exist. So the bulk of gamers are in China. There's over 600 million gamers in China, India, US, Brazil, Japan. But in terms of who you focus on, really picking one geo and then very clearly defining things like age, gender, income group, be really, really specific with who you're building for, and you'll just find a lot more success. It also helps to build in countries that monetize well. And so I think in this graph, you'll see China and the US tend to monetize much better than India or Brazil, which we saw at Tinder as well. We always tried to focus on growing India, but in Brazil, but it was really hard to monetize those audiences. So that should be a consideration too. In terms of actual crypto gaming, it's helpful to look at the traffic breakdowns to existing games. So this is just a visual breakdown of Axie Affinity's audience, but you can see largely based in the Philippines, which makes sense for their economy, and also Venezuela, USA, Argentina, Brazil. So you see a lot of LATAM, and then it kind of dies out from there. But cool. One mistake I see, and it's especially this happens at hackathons all the time. I've been part of many of hackathons, and one mistake is you don't set up your data funnels, and so you it's like the last thing you want to do at a hackathon is to set up dashboards because you're just so busy doing everything else. But at the very least, you should set up GA or some visual funnels to better understand what people are doing. And again, this can be whenever you release the app, but very basic gaming app funnels look similar to this. This is actually very similar to what any consumer app would look like, but you just start to learn very, very basic things about where bottlenecks are happening within your product. Usually bottlenecks happen on day one within the first session because you just don't have onboarding that's interesting enough or compelling enough. But in here, you can see only 30% of players complete a tutorial and only 5% of people finish level 5. So I would say just looking at this funnel, they probably won't find product market fit if you only have 30% of people finishing the tutorial. Great day one retention in consumer would be well north of 50%. And so here you're starting with 70% of the people just not even finishing the tutorial. Here's just another like classic gaming dashboard, but again, you have your data is linear. You move through 4 stages, and you really want to measure retention and conversion at every stage. And so Jamison's on our call here from ChapterOne, but she's our head of data science, so she would agree that setting up dashboards on day one is super important. And then, I think a lot of people ask kind of what product market fit feels like because, this is like the quest that we're all on within consumer. And if you have an experienced product market fit, it's pretty ambiguous. But when I've experienced product market fit, again, this was at Tinder designing primarily Tinder Gold, which was our subscription product that really kind of took our revenue to another scale. But it was some quotes that I've heard and collected would be, it's like getting pressed in the back of your seat by a fast car or plane and just taking off. When we hit product market fit, we started feeling pull for the first time. So you're really feeling customers pulling the product out of you. Word of mouth was uncontrollable. This was true at Tinder. We could literally do nothing wrong in the customer's eyes. And then people are asking they're asking for features and offering to pay you. And so we saw this quite a bit. And then you just really can't miss it. So you'll know it when you see it. And again, these are just different stages. You want to get to the top stage where you're feeling significant pull from your audience. And this is normally actually what product market fit feels like. It's your servers normally are crashing and your ops team is just trying to keep things alive. And we felt this a lot with Tinder, especially as we kind of grew our CRM and started to use push notifications, we had a lot of outages, and this is typically what you see with product market fit, unfortunately. Within gaming, I think there's a couple metrics that you want to look at, and so again, you won't have day 7 retention, but the kind of points that you should be looking at as a starting point would be day 1 through day 3, which would just be measuring your core gameplay. And so these are, again, are people coming back to play the next day? Is like the core gameplay actually entertaining, and do people understand it? Day 7 really shows the core loop of your game performing. So this is more measuring how engaging the metagame is, and then day 30 retention would be again looking at the metagame performance and the depth of the game. So the depth of the game, the day 30 retention normally comes down to having some deep social experience. So again, we're within crypto gaming, we don't even have consumer crypto social yet, and so probably the first people who can make crypto gaming truly social will build really interesting applications, but we're not quite there yet. And then just wanted to mention again, like, we're in the first wave of Web3 games. A lot of them are focused on play to earn, which is a hot topic, and the games are primarily prioritizing. They're mostly prioritizing money instead of fun and engaging gameplay, and so I think that's not sustainable. So this week, focusing on gameplay instead of monetization would be a recommendation. We'd kind of talked about this earlier, but really creating a product for a market. And so, I think within the App Store, this quote came, there were 800,000 games in the App Store as an example. I think within crypto gaming, there's less competition, but far worse discoverability. And so, really think about your market this week, and again, the numbers are just truly small. So, thinking about the 3 billion players instead of the 40,000 players would be one recommendation. But the total numbers would be 1.22 million, I think I'll kind of keep going. But if anyone has any questions, this is a pretty small group. Feel free to also comment in the comment section. So I wanted to also just look at product market fit cohorts and what actual retention looks like. And so in terms of what you want to see, you want to see some flattening of a retention curve. And so it could be 50%, it could be 25%. It doesn't actually matter what that number is. You just want to see a flattening at some number that feels sustainable. And from there, you'll see that flatline number. Those folks will keep coming back. So another great metric to look at in consumer is day 180. And so that's more longer term retention. But this is what you want to see, and you want to see it fairly quickly within your building curve. And so just some final thoughts would be to do a cohort analysis and actually look at the group that tried your period within the launch of the product, and then looking at those people who continue to use your product later, and really identifying where the drop-offs occur. And that's kind of the bulk of the presentation, but I also wanted to just say the goal of your cohort analysis should be 1 day retention. And so when you look at how many users should actually come back after 1 day, the general idea, the average day 1 user within gaming for the top 25% of classic games is 34%. And so this week, as you're building games or when you're releasing your game, really thinking about 34% would be the target that you want in terms of on day 2, they organically come back to your app and continue to play. And then day 7 retention would be about 13%. So you drop from 34 to 13%. And when we looked at that the data plot where you saw the flat line. So you'd probably expect the flat line to be about 13% of users on average on day 7. And then also want to just say product market fit takes quite a while. And so if you look at kind of the top consumer apps from Web 2 or marketplaces, it generally takes over 18 months. And so again, this isn't exactly aligned with gaming. I think gaming should be a little bit more exponential and easy to see than this, but this probably won't happen today or tomorrow, which is okay. Cool. And then, just want to take a look at kind of the differences between Web 2 and Web 3. And some of you are building in Web 3, and so you know kind of all the tools that you have at your disposal. But Play to Earn would be obviously the business model of choice right now. Again, I would focus more on gameplay. You have tradable tokens as in-game currency, NFTs for ownership, and then there's just a large focus on earning money. And so really excited to see what everybody builds this week who's building on this call. And lastly, I want to leave you with a couple resources. And so in terms of measuring funnels, Antonio Garcia Martinez, who's recently joined the ChapterOne portfolio, he's writing really interesting content around Web3 analytics as a whole. And so I'd recommend reading the pull request. And then there's a really amazing blog called Deconstructor Fun, which I read a lot at Tinder. And this does the best breakdowns by far of how to design games. And so really, really great content on game design, and takes a really quantitative view towards building. This is almost like Pitchfork. If you listen to music, like they take the reviews that seriously of games, and it's really a quantitative approach. But I learned a lot here, and I have more resources about game design that I've used in my career. So if you have any thoughts or want more content, please feel free to DM me, JMJ on Twitter, or Jeff@chapterone.com. But other than that, thanks for listening and waking up. I know it's early on the West Coast, so appreciate it. Cool. Happy to take any questions, or anybody can hop in. I know it's a small group, so feel free to jump on video as well if you want. We have about 7 minutes, and we can also go get breakfast and call things early if there's no questions.
I'll try another question. First off, thanks so much. Really love hearing about that. My thesis isn't really gaming right now, but I'm curious because it does seem like you guys are exploring this. On the whole, like in-game token as currency, I'm personally not the biggest proponent of that. I know a lot of my friends who play games aren't really a proponent of that. I'm curious, have you seen any good games that kind of align with what you're saying about gaming being a social thing? For me, my big game growing up was MapleStory, which had aspects of a free market. It had aspects of socializing in these various cities. Quests, which I think is a perfect application for like the sort of shelling points you see with like on-chain, off-chain coordination in games. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the over-financialization of every single thing in crypto gaming because, like, let's be honest, the people building the games, there's like a huge case of like, you want to be careful. Are you going to get Sybil attacked by your own team? Because like, let's assume token sale, whatever, like it's easy to get Sybil attacked by the own team. There's this really good Play Krabata bot written in Go that was like just ended the game, and I think like every other game economics that's set up like that has been screwed like that. But I'm curious, like, what games are you most excited about? My friend is building on the Starknet hackathon, and I've been really excited to see what's coming out of there. But still, I think like there is a real big fundamental problem of like, how do you create a game that's fun but also isn't just like a cash grab by the team with like the way they do their token?
Yeah, I think that the answer currently is I haven't seen any truly fun blockchain games. And the reason being is, as you know, game development takes about 4 to 5 years generally within AAA studios. And I worked at EA in one of my first summer jobs, and the production teams and game design teams are, it almost looks like a film production in terms of scale, and the average cost of a title is north of $300 million. I think it's $400 million to develop the title at like a large gaming studio. And so, and then you think about the odds of success to actually have a real hit. For us, we were like underwriting that 10% of the games would actually be successful. And so, yeah, the true answer is I think we're probably a couple years away from seeing like real sustainable gameplay. That said, there's probably really simple things we can do around mini games or really just simple. I'm excited to see mobile games, so crypto on mobile, which has not currently happened, but yeah, I'll let you know if I see anything in terms of social. I would be curious, Josh, what you mentioned some of your favorite social games, but when you think of social gaming, what kind of mechanics do you think are really powerful?
So moving away from the entire like I want to play a game so that I get rewarded with gold that has like its own like automated market maker that ties with some outside currency that you can fiat off ramp onto. I'm not personally into that because like I don't play a game to make money. I think like any person who ends up playing these games, like I'm sorry, like there's like the side of like easy, press 15 buttons, become like the daily active user, and then like what more do you have to do? Like personally, like I think that opens up like the other side where you're like, okay, like this is too easy, you can Sybil attack that. The other side of it is like to take away the financialization and to more so use the NFTs in a way where you move closer towards like sort of Counter-Strike model of like skins and actually making that valuable. Where for right now, like these games are too easy to Sybil. And the way I see it is like when I think about MapleStory and I think about my 2007 version 55 like surfboard that I have somewhere in one of my old accounts, like that's something that I can sell. So like when I quit MapleStory, I sold my Mesos, which is the equivalent of the cash. It's not an NFT, it's not an ERC20, but it's like Mesos. Sold it because the way the game is structured, there's like a finite amount of Mesos in the economy based on like how much people are playing the game. Obviously, you can like hack the game itself to like automate scripts that make you Mesos, but like you can actually quit and then sell your Mesos. And I walked away with like $1,000 as like a 12-year-old. That sort of behavior is more conducive towards, in my opinion, a fun game that's long lasting, because when you play the game, you're actually grinding. And so the thing about the games that I'm seeing right now, it's like, yeah, I think we're starting to move more so towards the fun. And that's why I sent Play FR, which like is the only game that I'm kind of excited for right now.
Yep.
But thinking about the social aspect of the game, one thing that I really enjoyed about MapleStory was that it had a whole world where you get to explore, and by traversing the game with your friends in guilds, you get to do party quests and you get to get rare items from them. But the whole idea of like moving away from the ERC20, moving more so towards achievement-based NFTs, I think is the way you actually have fun in the game. The thing about a blockchain game, a game in general, that I think we should start seeing as we start moving into like 2020s era video games and starting to consider the subset of crypto gaming, I think you have to consider what is the goal that you're trying to race towards. Like I think the games that have like a 3 to 5 year timeline, my friends working at Dig right now, Digital Insight Games, and that's an interesting one where they're trying to create like a League of Legends style game. I'm trying to advise them away from like the whole tokenomics Ponzi side, but there is a way where you can create a game where the people who play the game and play it during the first season, when they move on to the second and third season, they can actually be rewarded for being early users.
Yep.
But I think, and I'm sure you have your own insights into this, I think that the way the current funding markets are structured makes it so a lot of people on these teams understand that they can double dip. And like, I think it's just like the immaturity of the current crypto market is just like, we aren't at the point where we have seen a successful game on a long term. So we need to see like these hardworking teams go at it. But yeah, sorry, I'm talking too much, but yeah, those are my thoughts.
No, it's good. It's good. It's more fun than me talking. Sam had asked just about KPIs and Web3 analytics. I don't know, Jameson, if you're available. We only have another minute or so, but Jameson, do you have any thoughts on like what's best in class right now in terms of Web3 analytics. I should say Antonio Garcia Martinez, who I mentioned, is building this solution soon because we've seen a general lack of data, kind of data awareness within Web3 teams.
Hello? Oh, hi. Sure, yeah, I can speak quickly on this. I mean, there's a few different ways to approach Web3 analytics at this point. I know there are a lot of different platforms trying to kind of to be able to take the on-chain data and visualize it in a way that makes a normal person have it really easy to understand, and being able to do that market segmentation. So I think we'll see a lot in the next coming year. But I think one thing that's, and then on top of that, we have, oh, sorry, I'm reading the chat. And then, yeah, and then we can do all the on-chain analysis. I think in terms of like specific to gaming, I'm really excited for the I think specifically all the cohort analysis, as Jeff talked about, is obviously a really important part of Web3 analytics, and I don't think that that's fully solved yet in Web3 because you have the issue of identity as well, where people can have multiple wallets, they can be playing across different users. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it all goes. And I think specific to gaming, I'm really excited about NFT analytics, and so how games can interact with NFTs, and then in addition to that, kind of how those can move across the game. I think that's going to kind of ignite an entirely new field. So yeah, to summarize, it's all new. It'll be fun to see. I know that's not that helpful.
Jameson has a great blog on NFT analytics as well. So I don't know, Jameson, your Twitter handle is.
So, yeah, it's so specific though. Side tweets. I need to get blogging again. We're working too hard inside ChapterOne. I need to blog more.
Cool. Well, everybody, really appreciate this. This was actually a lot of fun to put together because I haven't spent a lot of time in the last month or two kind of creating growth or product market fit frameworks for crypto. But super cool to be involved with Starknet. And if anyone has any cool projects, obviously would love to talk. So everybody, thank you for coming in. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.